Endless Archive is a stunning new single-player or co-op PvE activity, exhibiting never-before-seen concepts combined with the nostalgia of all the bosses we've seen throughout the last 10 years to create a piece of content that will consume your playtime. This video will give you some of the most essential tips and tricks that you need to understand in order to achieve a deep run in Endless Archive, as well as a look at these concepts in practice with a look at some Arc 5 gameplay. Before we get started, this video is sponsored by Bethesda. Endless Archive is available on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, so you can start your adventure a leg up once you finish this video. The structure of Endless Archive is pretty simple to follow. Each main round is divided into 3 subcategories: arcs, cycles, and stages. A stage is the most basic of the structure, simply indicating any encounter. Stages involving trash ads will spawn its enemies in 3 waves. Cycles are the next subdivision encompassing 3 stages, the end of which is indicated by a boss stage. So for every cycle, you will have 2 trash stages followed by 1 boss stage per cycle. The arc encompasses 5 cycles, with the final cycle boss being the main boss in the dungeon, Tho'at Replicanum. Once you complete an arc, the dungeon scales up in difficulty, increasing enemy health, the damage they do to you and your allies, and increasing the amount of ads you'll encounter in trash stages. This increase in difficulty is pretty linear throughout the entire dungeon, with the exception of one major jump from Arc 5 to Arc 6. The jump in scaling here is very noticeable, indicating the beginning of the quote-unquote endgame of this dungeon in my opinion. So again, to quickly summarize, 2 trash and 1 boss stages per cycle, 5 cycles per arc. The final boss of the arc is Tho'at, the main boss of the dungeon. Each stage encompasses a completely unique experience. You encounter ads that you've seen across Tamriel before, including trial bosses. The mechs for every enemy are a lot of what you've seen before, however scaled down obviously to be doable for 1 or 2 players, and with some very small tweaks to those mechanics here and there. Additionally, once per arc in trash stages, you have a random chance to experience one of 3 types of Marauders. These are arguably the most dangerous targets in the entire dungeon, especially in later arcs, and much of our comp is built around handling these monsters. The red Marauder is the tank buster, which is only survivable by living in magma shell in very late arcs. The white Marauder is the DPS killer, spreading these awful high damage dealing tornadoes throughout almost an entire arena. The blue Marauder is the one that you kind of hope for, as it doesn't really do a ton of damage, with the exception of 2 AoEs that are easily recognizable and avoidable. The main boss, Tho'at Replicanum, is one of the most visually stunning bosses I think I've ever seen. This boss has a really cool progression. In Arc 1, you'll simply encounter Tho'at on his own. In Arc 2, you'll encounter Tho'at, then once he reaches a certain health threshold, will blow up the room and spawn variations of himself. The first variation that we meet in Arc 2 is the Ice Atro. In Arc 3, we meet the Manticora. Finally, in Arc 4, we encounter the Dragon. This is Tho'at's final evolution, and the only thing that changes after Arc 4 is the health of each of these bosses, as well as the damage they do. I'll talk about this boss fight in a bit more detail in the Arc 5 walkthrough. Getting far into Endless Archive, however, is no easy task, but is made much easier by understanding and utilizing the verse and vision system. Every time you complete a stage, you will get a verse. This is a buff that lasts for 1 stage only, but can be very powerful. There are 3 types of verses: offensive, defensive, and utility. Offensive verses, like Magical Multitudes or Fire Orb, do an insane amount of damage to enemies, more than you alone could ever hope to do. Defensive verses such as Archival Evasion decrease the damage taken by area of effect attacks by 25%, or verses like Enhanced Remedy increase your healing done by 50%. Finally, utility verses such as Tomfoolery give you a ton of ultimate after a set duration if you stand in its AoE, which is just an example of one of many different types of verses you could see from this category. Additionally, you can consume 1 mystery verse as a slottable at any point in a cycle if you feel you need a bit of extra help, such as a Marauder or a boss fight, for example. These slottable items can be earned by defeating Marauders or by using the currency earned in Endless Archive to purchase from the appropriate merchant located in the lobby of the dungeon. Visions are extremely powerful permanent buffs that you earn whenever you complete a cycle. There are tons of different types of visions, but the most valuable vision by far is Focused Efforts. This buff increases the damage of your status effects by 500%. That is, if you purchase the upgrades that we'll talk about shortly. If you do not get multiple stacks of this vision on each player, you don't really have much of a chance to go really deep into Endless Archive. After you get a couple stacks of this vision, however, you're going to want to slot Elemental Susceptibility and start hitting every target with it. Once stacked with Focus Efforts 4 to 5 times, this will result in your status effects easily doing over 500k DPS. It's insane. Most EA pushes are dependent on getting this vision. Other notable notable visions, though, worth looking for are offensive penetration, which increases your pen to targets by 30%. You only need this buff once or twice, though, as every single target in the dungeon only has 9100 resistances, with the exception of Tho'at, who has 18200. Extended favor increases the duration of major and minor buffs, which is another no-brainer, especially for the tank. A 30-second horn is as insane as it sounds. There are also some really cool vision quote-unquote sets that you can complete that unlock insanely overpowered verses. There's the Ferocious Beast set, which unlocks a verse that transforms you into the werewolf from Stone Garden with all the same abilities and damage output. The Crystalline set unlocks the Ice Avatar form, which offers a synergy that freezes ads for a short period of time and spawns scamps that do a ton of damage to the enemies that get frozen. Finally, there is the Scorching set, which gives access to the Iron Atronach utility verse, which, when stacked with focused efforts, does an insane amount of damage with a disgusting damage over time effect and is an absolute must-have. As you can see, the verse and vision system is an integral component to a deep Endless Archive run. The final component to EA are the secret rooms, though. There are 6 types of secret rooms, each associated with a specific buff. One of the simplest rooms you'll encounter places you in an archive with a quest giver. Your task will be pretty simple: find pages throughout the archive. I recommend keeping this quest active as you progress throughout Endless Archive, as it makes these tiny pages much easier to see. They are typically tucked away in some sort of crevice or corner. After completing this quest, you'll be given one more, but instead of pages, you'll need to find bindings, found the same way throughout the archive. Instead of immediately picking up a binding like you did the page, however, you'll find a lockbox. And the lockbox has a high chance, but not a guaranteed chance, to give you a binding. These bindings also spawn far less frequently than pages. It seems that you can only get 2 bindings per run from what I've seen, but I'm not positive about that. Completing this quest will allow you to purchase the Destazuno's Safety Net upgrade, which gives you an extra thread or life in Endless Archive every time you attempt it. If you are doing it with a partner who also has this buff, you will get 5 threads instead of 3. An absolute must-have, of course. The other buffs come from rooms that sort of resemble minigames. Each room has 5 versions, increasing in difficulty. Once you've completed a level, you will never see that level again. Instead, you will only see the levels that you have not completed until you've completed them all. This concept is not bound to one run. Endless Archive remembers your progress with these rooms even if you start over. Once you've completed all the rooms, the minigame you get will be random at its highest level every time, if you choose to continue doing them. Doing these secret rooms can be worthwhile in later runs, as they do offer an extra vision and completely fill up your ultimate for successfully completing them with no penalty for failing. Aramril's training offers increased vision strength and is one of the most important upgrades you can get. It will double the effectiveness of most visions, including focused efforts, making this vision absolutely insane. This upgrade becomes available for purchase by completing the Theater of War mini-boss on its most difficult iteration. Thylar Core's True Sight is an upgrade that gives you 3 vision choices every time you complete a cycle instead of 2, which gives you much better odds at obtaining the most sought-after visions. This upgrade becomes available for purchase by completing the Thylar Wings room on its most difficult iteration. Ghostly Gratitude is an upgrade that offers increased verse strength, which you can gain the ability to purchase by completing the Echoing Den on its most difficult iteration. Sweeter Deal is an upgrade that gives you a 3rd verse choice instead of just 2 for completing a stage. You can gain the ability to purchase this by completing the Hayfowl's Butchery room on its most difficult iteration. Finally, Tentacular Motivation gives you a small movement bonus while in Endless Archive. You can obtain the ability to purchase this upgrade by completing the Treacherous Crossing minigame on its most difficult iteration. Outside of these upgrades, you can purchase so many things in Endless Archive, including sets, leads, furnishings, materials, and the special collectibles, just to name a few. Obtaining currency in Endless Archive is a necessity. You obtain this currency whenever you defeat a boss. Cycle bosses begin by giving 210 currency at Arc 1 and increase by 100 per arc, with the final Arc boss Tho'at doubling that amount received. This means that the most effective way to farm currency is to simply go as far as you can, as often as you can. In total, these upgrades cost 110k of the currency, which can be obtained either by destroying the place in an Arc 15 plus run, or doing 3 to 4 Arc 5 to 6 runs. However you choose to go about this is up to you. Before taking a look at the Arc 5 example, I figured I'd give you a quick look at the group composition we're choosing to run. The best comp I've seen run so far is a DK and Arcanist combo. You can run both as damage dealers with a DK, taking on the more tanky role as needed, or simply run a DK tank and an Arc DD. Arcs 1 through 6 are pretty easy to spec solely for damage output. As you get to Arc 7, Magma becomes a necessity in some situations on a tank, and even some ads can surprise one-shot the DK DD. By Arc 10, we completely throw damage optimization out the window and are hoping we have enough focused efforts visions to carry our damage. Focused efforts can stack up to 5 times, and having that vision maxed for both players as quickly as possible will simply make everything a million times easier. My comp involves a full tank and a full damage dealer, so we want to try to buff our damage dealer as much as possible. This means thinking about the penetration and crit damage cap. Pen cap is really easy to hit, as every single target in Endless Archive has a resistance value of 9100, with the only exception being Tho'at, the arc boss, in which all targets in this fight have a resistance value of 18200. To ensure you hit the 9100 pen cap, all you really need is a source of major breach. This comes from the tank by running Razor Caltrops in trash or Pierce Armor on bosses. For Tho'at, all you really need is to add Crusher and maybe an offensive pen vision or the Entombed Enchantments vision. To hit crit cap in trash, the DD runs Soulzon, 7 medium, the Khajiit Race, Fighting Finesse, has the 12% crit damage passive for Arcanist, and provides their own minor force via Channeled Acceleration or Barb Trap. The tank offers minor brittle for trash and adds major force and minor brittle for bosses, since the DD takes off Soulzon for bosses. So the trash setup we run for Arc is simply Soulzon, Deadly, Pale Order, Slime. For bosses, we run Acuity, War Machine, Balorgs, Pale Order. For later stage bosses that can't be Acuity nuked, we run Onsul, Deadly, and Pale Order. The tank setup is pretty standard. All that really changes are skills. For early and easy to live stages, the tank runs Turning Tide, Olo, and Spalder with One Piece Magma. Around Arc 6, when Marauders begin to get challenging, the tank swaps to Drake's front bar, Elfbane back bar, and potentates Jewelry with Pale Order. As long as you run a Decisive Ice Staff, you can pretty easily gen Magmas on cooldown with Vamp Drain. Having Bastion helps make your Magma cheaper as well. This setup, however, becomes essential for all fights around Arc 8 to 10. At this point, the DD will also run Pearlescent Body as well, with Tristat enchants in an effort to increase survivability and allow the visions to carry damage. And with that, let's go ahead and take a look at some gameplay of Arc 5 here in Endless Archive. I chose Arc 5 because the targets aren't quite doing an absurd amount of damage where they start one-shotting DDs. They don't have an insane amount of health where it takes 10 minutes to kill a trash pull, but this is the point where the damage and health of your targets do start to ramp up, in kind of the very beginning of where the dungeon begins to start getting a little bit difficult. We'll definitely get to actually see some boss mechanics instead of nuking them so fast that they don't get a chance to do anything, but within a time frame that's still reasonable for the scope of an entire video on Endless Archive. So remember, the key things that we're going to watch for as this gameplay progresses is the verses and visions that we choose and how we utilize them, as well as how we utilize our comp to try to maximize our damage to defeat enemies before they really become a problem. The Arc 5 Marauder is one that you're definitely going to want to pay attention to, as this is where those Marauders start to increase in difficulty quite a bit. We'll use that Drake's Elfbane's Potentate setup to make sure that we can consistently survive, even though it might not be 100% necessary to live in Magma just yet, as well as see how even focused efforts on the tanks can result in some pretty decent damage output. You'll get to see important verses used as well, such as the Ice Atro, Fire Orb, Magical Multitudes, and many more. At the end of this gameplay, I'll take a quick second to summarize how all of these factors resulted in a clean Arc 5 run through. So with that, let's go ahead and take a look. I know, I'm sorry. If I would have known, I would have given him to you.
No dingus.
No dingus. No bleed though.
Yeah, bleeds are a problem.
So I hear. You come back here. You come back here. Nice try, assholes. Get chained, Stinky!
Absolutely wasted. Sir?
Sir? Excuse me? Sir?
This
Nope.
is a bad best try. Dude, I just spit out of my beam.
Oh, that's the worst.
Don't make me mad about playing this class solo.
Beam studs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, just like the general inability to block cast.
Yeah. It is a little silly goofy sometimes. Spooky, scary skeletons. Haven't seen a page in a while. Oh, you're gonna get chained, asshole? Deep breath, that. Deep breath, that. Fucking dirty animal.
Eat that change, you filthy animal.
Yeah, I've got all the achievements done. We got all the buffs, Elias. I have most of the achievements done. I think I'm missing one vision for the achievement. And then it's just like kill orc bosses X amount of times.
I know one achievement you don't have. Two.
What's that?
You haven't done any solos, or at least not many. And you definitely haven't run with a companion.
You're right. You're right about both of those things. This guy runs, right? Yeah, this is the way rest boss.
3, 2, 1.
Let him cook!
What even did damage there? Scorching support did 110k.
Get excited, Zenchi! No! Oh, fuck.
I'm in very much the wrong setup.
That's okay. Hopefully.
I mean, the big bummer is that I don't have Azure on.
Ah. Bummer indeed.
But you do fall out of combat for a moment, so I was able to switch into it.
Edge.
I didn't guess this time either.
Ooh, get up. Fuck out of that.
I was stuck in first person. I was pinned in the corner by the realm shaker.
Cookity yookity cook. Cookity yookity cook.
Yeah.
Liggity let him cook.
Give me the Marauder now.
Oh, huge? Bro! I just need a goat room.
At least this one's easier.
Yeah.
Which way are you going?
Spooky, scary skeletons. Spooky, scary skeleton. We're following the leader, the leader, the leader. We're following the leader wherever he may go. Ba-dum, buddy, ba-da-da-da-da-da. Gonna need a lot of those tonight.
What?
Hydrations.
Oh, yeah.
Hydrate or dihydrate, baby. Oh, it's another one. Alright, come on, you silly boy. Ooh. Oh my. Yo. Wait, so is it only in this green circle that they take damage from it? Or where do they take damage from that?
There's an aura that travels around me, and the green circle is where they'll take damage when the sun explodes.
Oh.
Tim was doing 1.5 mil DPS with Iron Outro
Unreal.
with 5 focus difference.
He got all 5?
Yeah.
That's spicy. I'm not gonna lie.
It acts like a pillager proc when you pop it too.
Gross.
Well, actually, it's like a more juiced pillager proc. It sends you to 500 ult in about 5 seconds from 0.
Makes me just a little hard. Just a little. Little chill.
Celine doesn't move.
Okie dokie.
Ready.
3, 2, 1. Oh! That would have killed me if this wasn't Arc 5. I was blocking, I don't even know. I guess I can't block that. Even though.
Master Malchus needs his fragment, and you need a portal. Mortals always need something.
I don't even know some of these things in them, just kind of clicking.
That bad.
That's red.
Come here, buddy! Do you hurt yet? Yeah, a little bit. Not that spicy, yo. What's smacking it? Doesn't need a taunt. There we go. Oh, shit.
I didn't get a good offensive buff either, so...
So if I'm in a situation where I'm out of magma, do I just kite this guy around and like later arcs until I get it back? Oh!
Yeah, but if you're not getting it back, there's something wrong.
Yeah, I didn't swap the ult pots for that, but I mean, even vamp draining, I wasn't super close.
Are you on...
Oh, I'm not
do you
hitting
have a
Drakes.
CP that makes shields cheap?
I might not.
Trying to keep him in my death show. He's on like the edge of it.
Wait.
I don't know what just stunned. Yeah, no focused effort is so sad.
Yeah, the back red is expired there, but that's spamming vamp drain, which I think you're saying I shouldn't have to do.
No, you'll need to spam it pretty good, but
Okay.
like you'll have. I don't know, I can usually spend 3 to 4 GCDs not draining and get it back, but that's it. I mean, obviously, if you get a bunch of boundless potentials.
Yeah, for sure.
I had my magma down to 148 cost.
Yeah, that's gross. Jiminy Christmas. One went off? No way.
Verses and visions aren't just gifts. They make your fights more interesting.
Ooh, huge.
Don't waste them.
Certainly doesn't make me sad.
Golly. That is goofy. What the?
It's goofy
Oh.
and it's only the second best one.
Yeah. Holy shit. I mean,
This is my winged fire. I'm glad to see it's largely undisturbed.
Oh, it's okay.
nope.
I do that all the time. So it feels like it should.
Yeah, I agree. This guy moves, right?
Speaking of Ice Avatar. 3, 2, 1.
This ice hanging off the edge of the arena is a little deceiving. Almost looked like I could step there.
My turn to pick the mimic fragment out of an ink tunnel.
That'd be cool.
I'm ecstatic.
Ugh.
Man, that well-trained command looking real tempting. At this point, unless I get like a ghost streak of RNG, there's no way we don't go into Arc 6. A little bit sad.
Going into Arc 6 with no focused efforts is a fucking L. Maybe even the fattest of L's. Yeah, we do.
I'm still very sad that my 15 doesn't show up on the leaderboards.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Of course, I don't even see your 9 up there.
I know.
But it at least says in my thing that I have that score, so
That is good.
I think I potato got this draw a little bit, but we don't talk about it.
Talk about what? Arc 20 tonight. Yeah, I don't know about that one, Chief.
Perfect spot to create
Especially with the lack of focused efforts.
the best
Come on, go room.
elastic.
Come on, go room.
Use focused efforts. Shoot the crutch.
Test your skills against mine.
Do I gotta take her out of this?
I don't think so.
Stop it. Yeesh. No stamina.
At least an E0.
Yeah, for sure.
Fuck. No, I just forgot that I switched to a boss set up for that lady.
Get fucking cooked. What's this guy doing, bro? Just a channel heavy. No, I mean he was just sitting there like he had the heavy attack animation for like a solid 7 seconds.
No, I tried pre-dropping at Death Stroke because I saw a Tome Foolery was going to go off. And it was an optimistic Death Stroke because I was much slower at killing those ads than I needed to be. Is there an ad in the middle of this? There is.
Yeah. Sheesh!
Didn't see anything but stupid magical multitude balls.
You move quicker than I thought.
It's a terrible verse. Why would I pick that? Oh.
Yeah.
Check on you. I think you can handle
3, 2, 1.
Oh. That's a pretty good burn.
I'm probably at the point where I shouldn't make you much more, but
Huh?
someone was in the lightning trail.
Huh?
You gotta make sure you look at the sky and orient yourself in accordance with that. What am I doing? Just outros?
Almost have a magma.
Good enough.
We're gonna get a verse bug now?
No. None of us are in Avatar or anything. Plus we like natural rest.
I meant, like where we, like if we lose a verse, we'll lose multiple.
We shouldn't.
Do you have any idea what causes that still?
Yeah, no. I don't really have that happen.
You sure?
Have we ever recently seen it happen when we wiped to Marauder?
Come here, assholes. Fuck. Bruh. Holy shit. What just blew everything up?
Yeah, sure.
I guess that is what would do that. Bro, I just chained you in. Come back. That's it. Come here. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Yeah, because I don't have any impressive buffs.
Yeah.
It's just Azure doing the Lord's work.
Your gifts from Hermaeus Mora. Before
Is that called a Roxy?
There's a sheaf of pages in here, looks like.
Oh, nice.
I don't know how that got unactivated as my primary quest, but... Remember, run deep with me.
Maybe a bit. One little druid.
Like the one guy got confused.
Don't fucking matter. Golly.
Don't get
Ruby doesn't cook like this.
always satisfactory, and therefore its own reward.
Oh, for Tho'at! Sheesh!
Yeah, why not?
Huge!
Oh, dude. It gets better.
What'd you get?
Fancy for the product. There it is.
Yeah, buddy. Oh, I mean... that...
Oh, just poured it into my multitudes, that's chill. Alright, maybe don't eat all those.
Cora.
We'll make sure we actually kill the damn ice guy, because
Yeah.
he actually doesn't things that are inconvenient.
I ran too far away from that, sir.
You're fine. Just try to drag it into that multitude spread.
Trying. You're not moving.
Yeah, not while he's channeling this guy.
Yeah. Does he not get? Does he have to be in the center of it to get hit by it?
If he's in the center, he gets hit by a whole thing.
Oh, gotcha. Touche.
I think it's baked like that. Last little bit there.
Hello. Come here, Dwagon! I have a ton of them, yeah, I'd say, right? Dwagon! Yo!
Like 5 easy bake oven.
Cooked! Come on, that deserves a focused efforts game. That deserves one. Give my boy one.
There could be hundreds of Tho'at Replicanum. When you're finished,
Oh, I got another attuned enchantments. I'm at 4 now. Crusher do be going crazy. So a few key points that I want to go over here real quick. One of the first things you might notice is how quickly these bosses get melted. And especially at this point, that has everything to do with the raid composition that we had discussed earlier. Everything that I'm doing as a tank is buffing my damage dealer's damage, and our damage dealer is spec'd out, essentially pushing as much damage as possible, which makes our boss fights maybe 10 seconds long with the exception of the dragons, who always have a lot of health and have a built-in invulnerability phase when they're flying through the air. You can get away with this in early arcs, but in later arcs, it becomes a lot more difficult to spec for full damage, and you should expect your fights to be a little bit slower. The way that you counteract this in late arcs is by trying to get your damage dealer as many focused effort stacks as possible. Unfortunately, our damage dealer in this video did not get any of those focused effort stacks, which is a little bit of an RNG thing, but if you're going for a late run, that kind of RNG with focused efforts is one that will likely result in a reset. You want to try to go into Arc 5 with at least a couple of those stacks, so if you don't have your DD with 1 or 2 of them by the end of maybe Arc 3, you should consider starting over. And a good example of this concept is when we get to the final boss on Tho'at. I, as a DK, spec fully into tanks who doesn't benefit off of focused efforts near as much as my Arcanist DD does, gets the verse Magical Multitudes. And you'll see that because of this verse and focused efforts at the start, I end up doing almost 100k DPS to the very first target when it procs. Now just imagine what that damage looks like on an actual damage dealer. It's insane. The last major point I want to touch on is based on that Marauder. Again, if you're going to lose your verses anywhere, it's very likely going to be on these Marauder pulls, especially as you get deep into Endless Archive. In this clip, I didn't have the decisive weapon yet, which definitely made a big difference in my ult gen, and I was missing some verses too that make that ultimate a little bit cheaper as well. But with these things and maybe a little bit of extra practice, you should be able to just permanently live in Magma Shell while still having to vamp drain quite a bit, but with the strat pretty much being to be able to get a Magma while also being able to res your damage dealer when they inevitably die, especially if you get one of the Marauders that's dangerous for the damage dealer in Arc 10, 11, 12, and so on. To summarize, the major key points is to get all of the upgrades so that your verses and visions are working for you as much as they possibly can, and so that you have 2 extra lives as well, to play as defensive as you need to in dangerous situations such as the Marauder, to try to make sure that you get the most important visions such as focused efforts, attuned enchantments, the offensive penetration vision, extended favor, and the vision sets such as the crystalline support, which offers you that incredibly overpowered Ice Atroverse, or the scorching support visions, which gives you the incredibly overpowered Iron Atroverse. A good comp, utilizing the verse and vision system well, and understanding how to negate difficult mechanics is what's going to give you success late into Endless Archive. And thank you so much everybody for checking out the video. If you're new to the channel, be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comment section below if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. I pride myself on responding to every single comment, so feel free to test me on that statement. And thank you so much, as always, for all of your love and support. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you in the next one.